Welcome to another one of my videos on basic bicycle repair and maintenance. In today's video, I will walk you through how to reattach your chain whenever you drop your chain while you're riding, how to shift, especially on a road bike such as this, and how to properly clean your chain. Let's get started. Before we get started, let's learn about the parts of the bike we will see in today's video. This piece right here is called your big chain ring. Then you have a smaller chain ring on the inside. Next you have your cassette back here. Then you have your chain connecting both. Then we have our rear derailleur right here and our front derailleur right here. So whenever you're shifting, there is a difference between a mountain bike and a road bike. So on a road bike, your brake lever right here is also where you shift. On your mountain bike, they should be two separate pieces. With your right hand, whenever you press the smaller lever, that's called downshifting. That'll make it more difficult to pedal. You'll feel more resistance, but that will make you go faster. So this is good whenever you're going downhill or on flats. Then this longer lever right here that you press all together, whenever you press that, that is called upshifting. That will make it easier, and it's really useful whenever you're climbing, going up a hill, things like that. So this piece right here, downshifting, harder, makes you go faster. The longer lever, upshifting, easier, but you do go slower. So this is what it looks like whenever I downshift with my right hand. You can see the chain slowly moving down on the cassette in the back. Now I'm going to start upshifting with my right hand. You can see the chain slowly move up the cassette in the back. When you shift with your left hand, that changes what chain ring your chain is on. So whenever you use the small lever, the small piece right here with your left hand, that will put you in the small chain ring, which will make it easier. So being in the small chain ring is really good for climbing whenever you're going up a difficult hill and things like that. You may not go as fast as if you were in the big chain ring, but you will be able to probably make it up some of those bigger hills that you couldn't whenever you were pushing in the bigger chain ring. To shift to the bigger chain ring, you're going to want to use this longer lever, this longer piece. Shift with that, and that will put you in the big chain ring. This will make it more difficult, but it will make you go faster per one revolution, one cycle, one pedal stroke. So being a bigger chain ring is better for flats and things like that, or just everyday riding whenever you're not doing climbs and a bunch of hills and a lot of elevation changes. This is what it looks like whenever I shift with my left hand from my big chain ring to my small chain ring. This is what it looks like whenever I shift with my left hand from the small chain ring to the big chain ring. Sometimes when shifting from one ring to the next, your chain may fall off. This is called having a dropped chain. I will next show you how to repair a dropped chain. So you know that you will drop your chain off of your chain ring whenever your chain is no longer connected to the teeth of your big chain ring or your little chain ring. So it can be, your chain can be between the teeth and the rings and your bike. So it's no longer feeding through there like it's supposed to. Like that. So see, wheel spin, tire doesn't spin, chain doesn't move. That means that you've dropped your chain. To fix this issue, what you're going to want to do is take your chain, and your hands might get a little dirty, especially if you have grease on your chain that lubes it. So if you don't like the grease, you can maybe bring along gloves if that's something you don't like. But for the most part, you want to take your chain from the bottom, pull it forwards, and feed it into the teeth of the small chain ring, and then pedal backwards. So see, now the chain is on the chain ring. Once your chain is back on your chain ring, you want to make sure your front derailleur is aligned with whatever chain ring your chain is on. If it's not aligned, then you'll want to shift with your left hand so that your front derailleur is in line with either the big ring or the little ring, whichever you're in, whichever one the chain is on. So now I'm going to show you how to properly degrease, clean, and relubricate your chain right here. So first of all, we're going to need a couple items. I like to put a tarp down whenever I'm inside because some of these chemicals could damage hardwood floors. So either put a tarp down or be maybe in a garage or outside. So one item you're going to need is some kind of degreaser. We like to put ours in a spray bottle for easy application. Next, some kind of bike chain lube. Then some soap. There's a bunch of different kinds and brands you can use. We like using this kind because it's also tough on grease and it'll help get some of that grease off of your chain. Next, you're going to need a cup of warm water and a sponge, a soft sponge. And then 2 toothbrushes that you're never going to brush your teeth with again. So we like to use like pretty old toothbrushes. They'll get kind of nasty. And lastly, a pair of gloves because the degreaser can sometimes strip the oils off your hands and make them dry. Okay, so now that we have all of our items, first thing we're going to do is degrease the chain. So I recommend putting on your gloves for this. So once again, you can put your degreaser in a spray bottle and just spray it along the chain. Make sure you get into every little nook and cranny of it. Or you can also fill some degreaser into a cup. You can use a toothbrush or an old paintbrush as well. Dip it in here and then paint it onto the chain, really making sure you get inside each one of the little grooves, each one of the chain links, really getting in there, nice and good. Another thing you can do, if you have both of them, put them in the degreaser, put them on both sides, squeeze them together like this. So the chain is kind of making a sandwich between the 2 toothbrushes, and then run it through. Sandwich it in, run it through. That way you get both the top and the bottom chain with that degreaser. Once you have your degreaser on, you're going to let that sit for a little bit. For the next step, take your warm water and put a little bit of the soap in it. Okay. Then you're going to take your warm soapy water, take your sponge, fill your sponge with the warm soapy water, and then run that along the chain as well. So the degreaser gets all of the grease off of it, and now we can clean it. So run that through a couple of times. Make sure that you get between your chain links and where they connect. Get that all soaped up, nice and good. So now that we have degreased and washed our chain, now we need to re-grease our chain. So we're going to take our bike chain lube. There's a bunch of different brands. This is just the kind I use. And make sure you put some on each and every piece that connects the chains together. Really make sure you get every single one. And this can take a while, but you just gotta be patient. So by properly degreasing, washing, and re-lubricating your chain, it will expand the lifetime of your chain itself, and it will also help with the teeth that are along both your chain rings and your cassettes in the back. Thank you for joining me again for another video. Please join me for next month's video, as I will teach you proper cycling etiquette and rules of the road. Ride safe!